Hi, everyone, and welcome to day 11, or excuse me, day 8 of Bearcat Countdown. This is our Coaches Roundtable, where we're joined by 6 of McKendree's coaches, head coaches. Uh, we're going to talk about things that have gone on in the last 6 months, dealing with COVID, dealing with the shutdown of seasons, of campus, and trying to get back to normal. Go around the table here, so to speak. We've got Mike Babcock from football. We've got Colleen Lishway from water polo. We've got Gary Henson from D1 hockey. We've also got Shannon O'Keefe from women's bowling, Andrew Stepp from baseball, and Nikki Sandlin from volleyball. Now, first of all, we've got you in one place at one time. Open it up to everybody. How's everybody doing right now, this day and time?
Officially at 11:06, I'm okay.
Yep.
Right now.
Right now.
We're good.
So well said, Nikki.
Yep.
So everybody's good. First of all, it's good because we're meeting. We're trying to do things regularly now. But first, let's look back at March. March, obviously, is when COVID-19 took grip of everything going on in the country. We had a couple of seasons that were either winding down or going on. And let's start with Shannon O'Keefe first. Coach, you had a team that was rocking and rolling on the lanes. You guys are ranked number 1 in the nation, and you were considered one of the favorites, if not the favorite, to win the NCAA championship this year. Your season comes to a sudden halt. How did your team deal with that adversity? How did you deal with it right at that time?
It was devastating, frustrating. I think we all, we were mad, we were sad, we were confused. It was so much all at once, and it was really challenging. We have a couple seniors in our program at the time who were like one of them, Brianna Clemmer, was a 4-time Player of the Year, and they'd won a couple national championships together, and we were getting ready to head for postseason the day it was canceled. And so it was a tough pill to swallow. We were still hopeful that, they weren't going to cancel everything. And then obviously the season was completely canceled. So some of the kids we didn't even see, they went home and we didn't see them. And that was really, really challenging. We try to keep in touch with them as much as possible through text or emails or phone calls or Zoom calls. And it was hard. It was really hard. And the only thing that I can, try to comfort them is that, we're all in it together. Everyone's experiencing it. I think the hardest part for all of our seniors, not just our seniors, but the whole group, it was a special group. They were doing things that were unprecedented in NCAA bowling. And they didn't get the opportunity to see that through. And I think as an athlete, you would rather lose than have the thought of what could have been. And that's a tough pill for them to swallow, and one that hopefully at some point in life will make sense and will make them better for it. But it's still hard. I've told all of our seniors that, if we do have a season this year, and we make it to a national championship, I want to personally bring them to watch their teammates, and hopefully their teammates that are still in the program will be able to bring that home and maybe give them a little bit of closure, even though they're not, competing with them. But it was hard. I'm not going to lie. It was devastating and heartbreaking. And I hate it for them.
And just like the other coaches around you, it's always about a sense of family. Seems like that comes to your program. I know, and all the other coaches, not trying to speak for you, but just being around your programs, it's always about a sense of family. Yeah,
for sure. My husband, Brian, and I were co-coaches, and we always wanted to have kids, and it was a struggle for us. And I really, truly feel that God blessed us and brought us to McKendree and gave us the opportunity more than. And so when we came here, we knew we wanted it to be that family feel. We attract kids from all over the country, from all over the world, and we knew we wanted to give them that safe place, that feeling of we're their second set of parents. We're going to love them, we're going to hold them accountable, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing what we're doing. And that bowling is just something that we get to do, but this is our opportunity to really feel like parents and raise these young kids to be strong, independent young women and men when they leave our program, and know that we played a small role in helping raise them for the next 4 years. And so for us, it really is a family. And so I cried when they cried. I mean, I don't know if I've cried that hard, feeling so heartbroken and devastated for them, trying to imagine what they were feeling. It stunk, but we're back at school now and we're ready to go.
Well, while your season was winding down, although it came to an abrupt end, other abrupt ends came during the spring seasons. Colleen Lishway had her women's water polo team competing. Andrew Stepp was right in getting into the heart of the conference season, and as well as Nikki Sandlin, whose men's team was about a month away from completing the season. Let's open up to Coach Lishway first. Coach, how did you guys deal with the situation?
Well, our women's team was actually out in California in the middle of a tournament when we got the news that season was at a halt. And obviously, much like Shannon said, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of unknowns in front of us, and a lot of, okay, what next? When are we going to even be back on campus, let alone what happens when we're back on campus? We were in the smack dab middle of our season, and I was feeling very, very confident about the buildup. We had a difficult start to the schedule planned out. So once we hit conference play in the back half of the season, we would really elevate. And I was more confident than ever that this group of women was ready to produce, some of their best games and best team play yet. And it was really, really sad to lose that opportunity. And for us and the program as a whole, the men as well, this was a very special year for us. This was year 4 of the program, and we were graduating our very first class of 4-year athletes. So not to have a senior day for our lone women's senior that made it all 4 years was heartbreaking, and not being able to see those guys and gals that, built this program alongside me was tough, and not getting to see them go across the stage and receive their diplomas was really, really hard. But, we have been through tough stuff together already. And I think it's made us a lot closer as a team, and that family aspect really, really reigns true for us. And it does even more so now.
Well, Coach Sandlin, much like Coach Lishway, your team was right in the heart of the season, playing the Midwest Intercollegiate Volleyball Association teams. Talk about, you had a mix of upperclassmen, underclassmen who were competing on the court, getting ready to take on those conference teams. Talk about the abrupt end of the season and how they dealt with it and how you dealt with it personally.
Just like Colleen, we literally just made an 8-hour bus ride to Charleston, West Virginia, get in the hotel, and the entire world shuts down. So, of course, the first reaction is anger. And we don't know anything about Corona at this time. And I'm like, this is dumb. This is not okay. And then, of course, the second reaction is tears. A lot of tears for me. And then definitely some upset guys. But I hate to say kind of the bright side is, they were trending. Not many teams can say they ended their season on a win, and we beat a ranked opponent the previous week at an away trip. So I'm like, okay, well, great. But it was devastating because we had no answers for the seniors who have been with me, obviously for a while. And I was like, this is soul crushing that these athletes are putting their time and effort and it's abruptly taken from them. So thankfully, with kind of a blanket waiver, they all came back. So that has a great sign that I think they do love me most of the time. So they all came back. Some of them want to continue to stay, which I think is a testament to our program and the family atmosphere here at McKendree. So I try not to dwell on it, because I think over the course of the 5 or 6 months that we were out of school for COVID, I think we all watched our last win thousands of times between all of us. Like, man, we were really good. Like, did you see that? We were good. And I'm hoping that we can just kind of, once we get back in the flow, pick up where we left off. And those seniors came back for something, and hopefully we can do that again. But we're a lot of emotion. So like I said, at 11:15, I'm still feeling pretty good, Scott. I think we're okay.
Well, hopefully you're still feeling good at the end here. So Coach Stepp was in a little more unique situation. It was his first year as the head coach of the McKendree baseball team. Coach, your team did start out a little slow, but it looked like you guys were hitting your stride right before COVID hit. You guys had taken 2 of 3 in your first conference weekend at Maryville. A big roster, a lot of local guys. What was the situation that you had to deal with? Obviously, there's no blueprint for you being a first-year coach, how to deal with everything that was going on.
Yeah, it's a year that I'll never forget. One is your first year head coach, but definitely, battling the COVID stuff that all of us went through. But it was our guys are tough, hard-nosed guys. So the transition from when it all happened, we'll never forget. We were coming home from Illinois Springfield, and we got the update on our phones. Most of us did that one of the NBA players tested positive, and we get on ESPN when we get home, and everything's, you see the trend and the way it's going. And our guys handled it very, very well. It was tough because, like you mentioned, we were catching stride. We were starting to really hash out how we were going to, close out ball games and win those things. And I couldn't be more proud of the way our guys handled all the games leading up to, and then obviously the adversity they faced with, hey, season's done. They handled it like grown men and tackled the next obstacle, which the biggest obstacle they had to remain was, hey, crush your classes. We got to crush classes. There's no excuses here. And our guys did a phenomenal job with that. And some were fortunate enough to get the opportunity to play a few summer ball games in the summer, and most got canceled in that regard too. So, they're chomping at the bit for here in a few days, just like myself and the rest of the coaches here, to get back out there and get back to work and do what we're supposed to do, which is get this program back to the top. So couldn't be more proud of the way they handled themselves and our coaching staff. And it was tough times, but everybody was experiencing it. And I always feel, a little bit more worse for some of those winter sports, just like Shannon here, that was, right on the cusp of winning the thing. And we still had, 30 games left under our belt. So, when you look hindsight 2020, ours was definitely a tough pill to swallow, but not as big a pill as that. So, but I couldn't be more proud of the way of our guys handling that adversity.
Well, Coach Henson and Babcock, obviously you guys were out of season. Coach Henson's season has finished a little bit closer to when everything first started taking place, about a month before. But Coach Henson, your team's unique in the fact you have a lot of international players. Talk about the process of dealing with getting those folks, or helping to get those folks home and in a safe environment. There you go.
Yeah, our season ended with a win, with the conference championship. But I know where you're going with this, Scott. But just real quick, so on the way home from Saturday's game, Sunday was the championship game. We had to play into that championship game. On the way home Saturday, my phone starts blowing up from Melissa and Chuck and everybody. I, to be quite honest, wasn't following the COVID situation much of anything at all. And then finally, when Melissa and Chuck Melissa Ringhouse and Chuck Bergman, when they got me on the phone, they explained to me that Midland University, whose locker room was right next to ours, had shut down because of possible exposure to their football team. So there was a chance we weren't going to get to play that championship game. And to go along with what Nikki said about it being 11:15 and she's okay, and then now it's 11:19 and we're still kind of okay, that kind of goes along with how unsure we were of what the next day would look like in the game. Puck drop was like at 1:30 and we didn't get approval to play till 1. And going back to Saturday night, it was so crazy with the information we were getting. I sent 3 of our guys to the Dollar General store to buy Lysol, and we sprayed everything down Saturday night, including ourselves. Like, I was just like, spray your clothes. I don't know what we're gonna do. So anyway, we did get to end on another conference championship. So that was great. but the international component, yeah, it's a challenge. We have, as most of you know, we're probably at 22 of the 26 on my team are internationals, and getting them home was a challenge. And I got to give McKendry some credit on helping us navigate how to get them home. And to be quite frank, some of them never made it home. I have 5 that haven't seen their parents or their family in what now is over a year, because we couldn't get them home. And then if they got home, if when it was the window open for them to get home, they weren't coming back, and so they had to stay. So it's been a challenge. And Josie Blasdell in admissions and Brent Reeves and Melissa Ringhausen and everybody came together to do what we can. But it was definitely tough. And like I said, we still have some young students here that haven't been home in quite a while, and we're doing our best to keep them occupied so that they don't get as homesick as they could. And I'm going to tell you, they are homesick, and so we're doing our best. So that goes along with what Shannon was saying about family. And I'm not a huge family guy. I don't have a big family, but I get that now. And so when Shannon says that is a big deal, because we've had to become family for these young people, because the Zoom is as close as they've gotten to their family. So it's been a challenge, but we're getting through it.
Coach Babcock, there's no way around it. You have the largest squad in terms of numbers. So you're dealing with over 100 guys that you're in a situation where you've got to try and get these young guys home, but you've also got to get them together somehow. Talk about this situation. Talk about dealing with all that. There's a lot of logistics involved, I'm assuming.
Sure. I think with all the coaches that are on the Zoom call here, I probably had the easiest one on the front end of it because it was spring break. So we had a couple spring practices, but everyone was pretty much home. They were looking to come back, but hey, stay away. We're trying to figure this out. And then obviously continuing on with the online everything. I think, probably like a lot of the coaches here, probably the biggest thing for at least us football wise was just not being able to see our seniors graduate, not being able to go to graduation, see those guys, with the cap and gown, which is one of the big reasons why they're actually here at school. So that was probably one of the hardest things. You're right. You alluded it to. Probably the hardest thing over the summer has been just the overall logistics. How do you get 100+ kids to go in the right direction? So constant meetings. Not just team meetings where I can get in front of them, but I rely heavily on my assistant coaches who have done a fantastic job of not only corralling the upperclassmen that are coming back, but what about all those freshmen? They don't know what's going to go on. They don't know what college is supposed to be like. All the parents and the anxiety that goes on with just everything that's been happening in coronavirus land. Just the talk around football, and it's probably like a lot of the other fall sports which the other coaches are aware of too, of just what are other people doing? How are they doing it? What's Division I doing? What's Division II doing? What are we doing? And even right now, when you look at it, high school ball in Illinois is not going. High school ball in Missouri is. Some Division I, football is going. Some is not. So everyone, it's just kind of a hit and miss. And I think kind of the biggest thing going on with a lot of my players is just anxiety. Just starting school. What is it? What did things look like? Luckily, we've been able to kind of slow things down this last week or two. Hey, relax. We're going to get into weightlifting and running. We're still together. We still have weekly team meetings, weekly position meetings, weekly freshman meetings, team building sessions. I mean, anything and everything to keep these guys kind of around and motivated. Even last week, we brought in someone to talk about mental health and be able to understand about high anxiety and who do we need to talk to and just being around. So again, just the whole logistics. I can't have a team meeting in person right now. There's no space big enough. Maybe if I can get, Michigan Stadium or the Rose Bowl, we can spread out just enough. But at the same point, we're going to have to do this for a while. So love our coaching staff, done a great job. The support staff around the athletic department has done a fantastic job of being able to kind of push through these tough times for our student athletes. So I think we're all glad that we're back on campus, that students are back on campus. So hopefully we can continue this on and make it a good year for the kids, whatever that may look like.
Well, folks, appreciate your input there. Let's talk about a little happier subject right now. Coach Stepp alluded to it during his answer, academics. You look at the year, if you look at the fall and you look at the spring, the breakdown, grades were phenomenal during the spring semester. I mean, all of your teams, everyone represented here today, has a cumulative GPA over 3.0, which especially during the spring, I think it says a lot about the character of the student athletes. Would any of you like to comment on that?
I guess I'll chime in first. The only thing I may attribute to is they might not have to wake up for the 8 a.m. class or whatever, so they can go in, and kind of do their homework at their own time. So maybe that's it. But you know what? I think they did buckle down. We were really tight on them as we finished out. I think professors, I think coaches, we wanted to make sure that no one slipped through the cracks. And so again, like we've had our highest GPA. I've been here 8 years. This is the highest GPA semester we've ever had since we've been here. So a lot of people went into it. So just happy we made it out in a good one.
Yeah, Scott, I'd like to piggyback just a little bit on what Mike said. And the reason why I jump in on that is I think Mike and I owe a huge debt of gratitude to Jenny Miller over in student success. I know she handles football and hockey. I don't know about the rest of you, but it's definitely a challenge for her, and her staff are absolutely exceptional people, and the amount of work and commitment to McKendree University and McKendree University students is unparalleled. We are all 100% in all the time, but Jenny's staff is 100% all the time on all of us, and the regular students. And I just think we owe her in her office a tremendous amount of respect, because as Mike said, it was his highest GPA. It was one of our highest GPAs as well. And while we do the best we can, with tutoring and things like that, and luckily, our staff is available a lot of times for tutoring, but essentially it's Jenny and her staff that make that, they're the engine in that train. So I just like to publicly, thank Jenny for what she's done. She is an amazing person, and I owe her a large debt of gratitude.
And I will add to that, Evelyn Bean's the one that handles our two programs, and she's been phenomenal. We meet with her regularly. She's in touch with us. She keeps us informed what's going on with our kids. And so then we can step in as coaches and make sure that, they're kind of being not attacked, but, checked in on both sides. And it has definitely helped with the success academically within both of our programs, the men and women, over the last couple of years. And, we all went through something at the end of last semester that is, like nobody thought anything like that could ever happen. And I think it just shows the dedication that our school as a whole has to our student athletes and to the community at the university as a whole. We're all in it together, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it. And I'm so glad that my kids have, that support behind them to help them through a really weird time.
I'll piggyback on Shannon. I'm going to say Coach Bean. I can't stop saying it. Coach Bean, she was on it. And I think that's what makes this whole thing in such a negative moment. Both teams, or at least men's and women's volleyball, did great. And it was because of the support staff. Yes, the coaches were on them constantly. They getting kicked out of group meets quite a bit for not reporting their grades every Friday. I don't know who kicked them out, not me, but it's Christian. So, but without the support staff, none of that would have been possible. It'd just be so much legwork for everyone, and to be informed and to see not just my two sports, but everybody crushed the spring. So I was like, okay, well, now you set the bar. They've already set the bar, but like the bar has been raised just a little bit more. And COVID is not an excuse. I know you can do better. So I guess thanks COVID for showing me what my athletes can do academically. So
there is a silver lining.
I think that for myself, we work very closely with Jenny Miller as well, and just the amount of times that I have reached out to her, let alone my student athletes, knowing that I'm going to get a response no matter what time it is, really eased my mind. And I know it really helped our athletes as well. And my biggest concern was when everybody goes home, we're not on equal footing anymore. You know, some people are working overnight. Some people don't have internet access. Some people don't have laptops. And knowing that our athletes, our students at McKendree had the support that they needed to, get their stuff done, get it done well, and maintain, moving forward towards that diploma is really all we could have asked for. And the fact that they went way beyond that, and had a lot of success as well is, I mean, I'm right with Nikki. I mean, props COVID for making my athletes, get on the books a little bit more. And I think that we can only go up from here, really.
That's great stuff. We're starting to run out of time here on our call. I was going to ask about recruiting. Obviously, there were a lot of inherent obstacles, virtual tours coming into play, not being able to get out and doing the legwork. I know Coach Henson likes to physically go out and recruit, and that's where he gets a lot of guys during the summer. So we'll talk about that at another time. One more question I'd like to ask the group collectively. If you could quickly give me an answer, that would be great. During this time of COVID and quarantine and everything, what's the one thing you learned about yourself?
That's a really good question. And I think for me is I learned that I don't really enjoy watching TV as much as it's on. And I really liked picking up books and reading them. And working out is an absolute must for me to keep me sane. So multiple things for me.
I learned that I should absolutely do whatever my wife tells me to do when she tells me to do it. We've been together 30 years and we've never spent this much time together. And so I've learned to be a better husband.
Oh. For me, I would say I knew I was a big routine person, but routine is life and death for me. Like it is, there's no deviation. I did wear pigtails for 70 days straight because I thought it would end COVID, but that was a terrible idea. And I'm with Shannon. Routine, and I have to work out or I am just a miserable, sad sack of a person. So routine.
I'm right there with Shannon and Nikki and having routine and making sure I'm working out, but not having access to a pool, which is my go-to, and I know my athletes go-to, has really made me a lot more creative in terms of my own workouts. And I'm excited to train with our guys and gals again, because I think that we're going to have some good opportunities to do some new, different kind of training and education and team bonding. And so I think I definitely learned to be more creative, a little bit more patient with myself, hopefully with my athletes as well. But without that routine, without that exercise, I'm pretty much worthless. So it's nice to be, back on a schedule a little bit.
I would say that just the continuing to learn, talking to other coaches, other people, reading, keep yourself busy. I think on the funny side of things, I think my dog thinks I'm a great dog walker because every morning at 7:30, he's got the leash, he's ready to go on point. So probably both of those things.
Yeah, I'd say I didn't necessarily learn this, but it was reiterated that I am not a handyman around the house. And if it wasn't for YouTube, I'd be completely lost. So I know my wife's ready to just hire whoever to come and fix because I can't do a lick around the house. So I'm not going to quit the day job, going to keep coaching ball because I can't do anything except mow. So that's all I'm good for.
Coach Step, Coach, Hank, I'm right with you. I don't know what a 100-do list is, so. Well, that's going to wrap up our Coaches Roundtable. I want to thank all our participants today. I thought we had some wonderful insight, some great responses, and I appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Thanks again to our panel.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
all the Bearcats.
Thanks, guys.
And
Miss
you
all
guys
of you.
have a wonderful day.